who is that super Avengers lawyers to put in a room to say, what is the right next 15 moves? What needs to happen? Who needs to get behind it? That's what I'm interested in.
Well, Trump has his team of lawyers. He does pay attention to folks on the outside, people who talk about this publicly, like yours truly. I know that one of the reasons the left hates me is because I put ideas out there like this, and people pay attention to them. I mean, I had the FBI come knocking at my door because I was blowing the whistle and Judicial Watch was asking questions and highlighting the abuse of Trump. I mean, I had to go before the grand jury on this crap because they wanted to highlight that and abuse me for saying what they were doing to Trump on this records issue was baloney, because we had sued similarly for Clinton records, and they told us, well, you don't have any basis to sue. The president can do whatever he wants with these records, more or less, right? And so they changed the rules, did a 180 of their own legal position to try to jail Trump. And what did we get in response for us saying, well, that's not right? I had FBI come to my door. So they're jailing his lawyers. They're disbarring his lawyers from the previous legal fights. So I'm sure the lawyers around him now are probably pretty cautious in light of all that as well. It's a challenge.
Maybe it's not lawyers. Maybe it's a governor. Maybe it's a governor from some of the red states to say, the same way that DeSantis sued, God knows how many.
Yeah, maybe it gets.
Maybe it's through that. But all I'm saying is, if I'm in a position like this. And let's just say we're facing an issue, a crisis that we've never faced before, whatever it may be. Department of Insurance. I'm in the financial industry. Okay, there was this lady that was a lawyer in San Francisco. Do you remember her? She would pick up my calls at 5 o'clock in the morning while she's on vacation in Hawaii because we paid her $1,200 an hour. I don't know if you remember her or not. I don't want to say the law firm she was with. But guess what? Anytime we would go through something that we had to really, really, really 100% find out what the legal ramification was by the states, because we're in 49, 50 states, so I have to deal with different legalities based on these states.
Right.
I could get all the lawyers on, set up a Zoom, let everybody debate each other. No, that's not true, actually, according to such and such. Okay, what do you mean by that? So what do you have? No, it's actually not. Let me tell you what happened 3 years ago. No, both of you guys are wrong. And then based on that, so I want those 10 people in a room ASAP. And then based on those 10 people, is it better for us to use lawyers to go? Is it better for us to use a governor from a state to go? Who are the short list of governors for them to come together and sue New York? What does that look like? Because this right here makes a big portion of American voters sit there and say, hey, if you can do this to this guy, you can do it to another person. Does the election really matter? It probably scares the shit out of some people who want to run for office. Who the hell today, think about it, say right now you're a conservative, you're a capitalist, you're a business owner, and you love America, that one day you would think about running for office. Who in the right mind is inspired to run for office? And typically the people that you want to run for office are the ones that don't want to run for office. Well, this is probably pushing those guys away even more, unless if somebody comes down and says, you're protected by the Constitution and the law, here's why. Don't worry about it. But I feel the urgency on the right is like, don't worry about it. No, you got to roll. So I don't know. I just don't see urgency there. Maybe it's happening. I'm not aware of it.
Well, you and I share the same type of approach, and I've always had urgency about these issues. And I remember after Trump left office, I got a call from a reporter, and they said, well, essentially there are all these former DOJ people complaining about my distracting Trump when he was in office with these ideas I had about legal issues and policy issues. And they just hated it because, he would find out about something from me directly or indirectly, and the Justice Department, just hated the idea that someone like Tom Fitton or Judicial Watch had any influence. And so they're complaining to the New York Times. And I'm thinking in the end, I'm just a guy on a street corner with a sign. And these are the top officials of the Justice Department complaining that I was causing trouble for them. But my point is, these small voices can have a big impact if you get the right attention at the right time. And I think President Trump needs to be urgent about this. because I do think, as James Comey is slyly highlighting, as we highlighted earlier, he faces jail time. And, all bets are off if there's a jail sentence that's recommended. Everyone says, well, he's going to be released pending bail or pending appeal. Well, I hope so. I tell you, if it were me, I'd be thinking, how can I avoid even having to worry about that on day one, on that day? Is there anything I can do in the meantime to derail the sentencing through federal court intervention or getting the states to intervene or something like that? And I just don't. I tell you, a lawyer that tells you, don't worry, the Supreme Court will overturn your conviction that's sending you to jail. I mean, to me, that's a loser approach.
It's a slow approach.
It's a loser approach.
Yeah, right.
It presumes you've planning to lose is the Republican way, and I reject that.
Yeah, to me, Trump gives me the vibes of a very urgent guy who asks, what do you think? He gives me the vibes of what do you think? And then he makes the final decision at the end of the day. But I think he's the type of guy that calls 5 different random people saying, hey, what do you think about what just happened? Yeah. What do you think is this? Yeah. I think it's like that. And this is not like I'm telling it based on experience. I'm just assuming that I may be fully wrong. I wrote a few things down. This is what I just wrote down. Okay. Strategies on how to fight this. Number one, an all-out public push, if this is legal or not, to encourage whistleblowers on the higher-ups on the inside, DOJ, FBI, CIA, who are high-ranking to come out and talk about what really happened. 2, retired guys that know there's going to be a big price on the line if they know anything, if it's legal. Everything I'm saying is if it's legal. Number 1 is whistleblower. Number 2 is constitutional lawyer emergency meeting in Mar-a-Lago or whatever he's going to be at to have that conversation, a few hours, and everybody talks to each other. Number 3 is getting the usage of governors, House, Senate. Number 4 is using WTP, we the people, to rally behind something. Number 6 is a massive method of how, remember back in the days in 1985 when we did the We Are the World, or even Africa when we raised the money.
Yeah,
and there was this massive Live Aid. That's right, the Band-Aid, right? Let them know it's Christmas time, that song in the next, So maybe a full-on type of a model with 5 million people live on a platform for you to raise $1 billion in a day where you have those kinds of resources. I think there's got to be some kind of hey guys, you ain't got a lot of time. So to me, it drives me insane that they're moving like politicians instead of moving like entrepreneurs, where the urgency's got to be a little bit higher. I don't know. Again, all of this stuff I'm saying right now, maybe some of it is in full effect, but to me, I want the American voter to think, believe, trust that our system is built so perfectly by our founding fathers that one cannot use the method to go after the opponent like Russia, Iran, other countries have done, that is not acceptable in America, and we make an example of it. Go compete equally, beat them, not the way we're doing it today. If that trust goes down like it is right now, trust in government, trust in CIA, trust in media, trust in all of that, that's actually not good for it to be that low of a trust. We need to be a little bit higher than what we are today. Not 100%, but definitely not 23, 27%, which is where we are today. That's horrible. That's a way of you saying you don't believe in the Constitution because the people that are running it right now are going based on the laws that was written 250 years ago. 248 years ago, whatever the timeline is. So makes me feel very uncomfortable that those laws, Supreme Court and some of these other guys can't come in and say, guys, you're crossing the line here. Makes me a little bit uncomfortable.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.